Uh, what would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with little help from my friends. What's Morgan? What's going on? How you doing, man?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I am doing okay.
So what's
Yeah.
what's the intro about?
Oh, so those are my Patreon members, and I give them a shout out by putting their name and stuff on. I just got this one guy, Me Home 911. Me Home just signed up for my family and friends tier, and
Nice.
yeah, so that's pretty much, honestly, there's really nothing like the Meow Gang that's on there. They can like request songs, but that's pretty much it. The family and friends tier get a special way to contact me, but that's about it. We've had a couple of comments here already saying that you are their hero. For those of you, or for those people that do not know, they're like a quick spark notes, a quick version about yourself, or how people might know you.
Sorry, you're asking me. Yeah, so so I co-founded a popular brand now called Gymshark back in 2011, back in 2012. Before that, I was kind of, flipping headphones on eBay, anything I could buy and sell, flipping on Facebook, taking couches off people, for £0, and then selling them on to people for £30. So, little bits of that. Started Gymshark, started another company called MDV, which is a clothing company. And 10 years on, I'm now involved in Veve somehow.
So when you started that, you were what, like 19, 20?
Yeah. When we started Gymshark, we were actually we were 19 at the time, myself and Ben. Yeah.
Did you have any idea how wildly successful that would be?
If I'm honest, at the time we started, no. At the end of the day, you just start things because you're curious, right? Everything you do is just out of curiosity. Okay, I wonder what would happen if I wanted to create my own protein shake. So you buy loads of supplements online. Yeah. You get them all together, you put them into a glass, you spin them around, and then you drink it and see what happens. Well, that was how we started, a supplement company. And then we started to sell something called a stringer vest, which was a long vest, pull down. You can, it's really low. They didn't have it in the UK at the time. Shipping to the UK was expensive, 3 times the product, in fact. Shipping delays were maybe 50 days at the time, back in 2011, 12. So we saw a gap, basically, to just buy the clothing in and start selling it to around Europe. And there was a guy at the time called Ziz. And do you know who he is?
I do not believe so, no.
Well, so he's an Australian fitness guru, and he was in really good shape, and he was just like, he wasn't doing anything that anyone else was doing. He wasn't doing anything by the book. Everything he did was just ludicrous. He was partying all the time, but he looked incredible. Everyone was obsessed with him. Yeah. And unfortunately, he ended up dying. But it changed. His persona kind of grew with his death, and everyone out there was kind of like brought together into like a bodybuilding scene at the time. And every time you went to the gym, and anyone that was in Ziz clothing or anyone that was in, stringer vests, everyone kind of looked at each other as if they were from the same place, and like, okay, well, you knew Ziz, or you knew of Ziz, and it was like this community that was formed, similar to Veve as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the time we didn't know where it was going to go. All we wanted to do was make clothing and have fun.
All right. That's really cool, that getting that sense of camaraderie, like, hey, I got you. Like, oh, you're in the club and you're fighting? Oh no, we fighting in the club. That type of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. So how much like fame did you get from the company, and I guess from the rise, and then from leaving? I know there were a bunch of articles written about you. Was at any point where like, oh, hey, I need to make my Instagram private and my Facebook private because everyone's messaging me all the time? Or was it not that bad?
No, not really, because we are a really social brand, and when you're a social brand, everyone wants to speak to the owners. And because we used to go to these events back in the day, Body Power event, which we're really lucky. It was like a pilgrimage. Everyone came from all over the world to this event, which was on our front doorstep for Body Power, which is similar to like the Arnold Classic, or I don't know, the Olympia maybe. And in the UK, it was a massive thing. So we would go to these events, and we would kind of, host them ourselves, basically, just take over them. At that moment in time, there was loads of corporate companies involved, and we were the youngest people there running a company that was going to be $1 billion brand, but we didn't really know what we had. All we wanted to do was meet people, speak to people, have fun, and sell stuff. That was it. And yeah.
So when your introduction to this, or your public introduction, like your cotillion, your coming out party, where you were on NFT Pirates video, and then you were on AMA, those Twitter Spaces that one day. Have you noticed more people message you about Veve and about that type of stuff than you did Gymshark, or has it been not that bad yet?
Well, no. So obviously Gymshark was over a course of 10 years, right? Whereas Veve, I've only been in the space maybe 2 months, but the amount of people that have followed me and have messaged me has been unbelievable. Everyone wants to help me. People want help, which is why I set up that free Discord, just so people can jump in there and kind of speak to each other. And what I've done in the Discord as well is I've linked to loads of different people's channels from the Veve community, so people can learn every time you upload. For example, it will just drag into the Veve into the app, sorry, and everyone can see. So no, everyone's been really welcoming. I've had a lot of messages, so it's been cool.
That's great. I think I saw you post about that. I'm not sure if I joined that or not. Every now and then, where I go to try to like search for something or I do something, I get a notification on my phone, like someone texted or someone messages, and I go to hit the search thing, and then I hit that, and then it goes crazy. I've got people saying, when Gymshark texted Veve.
Yeah, so people ask me about that, but I'm no longer involved in Gymshark, so I can't answer that question. But you've already seen all the brands, right? You've seen what they're doing with NFTs. You've seen Nike, for example. Everyone's coming out with their own NFT. Whether or not it's too soon, in my opinion, probably, but it's obviously free advertising. Well, not free advertising, but it's cheap advertising. You saw with someone like Adidas, they bought a Bored Ape. Look how many people have shared that. Look how many different Instagram pages, Twitter pages, whatever it is. The community is the age group, the demographic that they go for. It's been shared all the way around the world. So if you look at it from an advertising standpoint at this moment in time, they're kind of having one foot in the door while still getting advertised around. So it's kind of a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to say that AR is probably going to be the first thing that most brands do. So if anyone out there has seen Nike, again, I'll mention them, because they've got stuff on their websites and they've got apps where you can click on their shoes and you can basically click on the AR tab, and it's straight away you can put the shoes on your feet and you can have a look at it, see what they look like without even buying them.
Yeah. I forget there's an app for that in the US as well, but not for shoes. It's for like suits or whatever. They like, you got to be like naked when you do it, but somehow the app like takes your dimensions and they fit it. It's like, oh, that's so cool.
Right.
Yeah. So do you think you've transitioned from like, hey, I'm just like kind of here and in the background, to like you're actively promoting Veve now, like with making that Discord and going, obviously you're coming on here, so that helps.
I would say so. I mean, as I said, it's not my main. So it's just a hobby for me at the moment. But for me to get involved in something, I have to be financially involved with it, because otherwise, you can't sit on the sidelines and expect to learn things. It's like the fans when they shout at the UFC fighters, like, throw a jab, slip the hook. Like, how do you know? You've never even been in the ring. Do you know what I mean? So I have to kind of put my money where I can't be involved in something unless my money's involved, because then it helps me learn and educate my stuff at a high level. So, this is what I'm like. I just jump in straight at the deep end, just get to know people and go where it goes. I mean, I don't really have any. I'm in a unique position. It's not to me. I put a little bit of my capital into Veve. Love collectibles, anything to do with So to me, it's like I put my money in. I see where it goes. I have fun at the same time. I meet people, and potentially in the future, maybe I'll make a business from it. I don't know. I just, I kind of just roll with it.
Yeah, I saw the video where it was was it a wall? No, a Secret Rare Spider-Man, and that was you, right, with the screen recording, and you bought, it was like number 47 or something, and it was like maybe like $34,000, and not only was it just a huge flex of just going and buying that real quick, but you also had like 170,000 gems just like ready to go. Like you were, did you load those gems like just in case? Be like, okay, I'm going to do this just in case, or do you have a plan? Like, all right, after this, I'm going to wait for another one of these goes, or are you waiting for like a new drop, like a Pokemon or something?
I'm waiting for Pokemon. So I've got more chart. So I like to keep myself busy on the app too. So I do loads of flips. So at this moment in time, I did have a lot more gems, but I'm sat on a lot of Mickey. I'm sat on a lot of Mickey hats, comics. Just general common Spider-Mans, the first editions. So things like that are always going to go up. I like to try and invest more into the first editions than anything else. But my plan is, the second Pokemon drops, I am absolutely cleaning up every single Charizard that is on the market.
So if we have, I mean, right now I only have like maybe 20 something thousand gems in there, like 22, 23. But if we have OMI to NFT by then, and we're at like, let's say 5 cents or more, you will have competition. And I would hate to do that because we're not going to be the only ones. But I clearly, with my Pokeball tattoo, love Pokemon.
What's Donkey Kong? What's that?
Yeah, Donkey Kong's throwing it. He's throwing the Pokeball. So I love it. I don't want to say more. Yeah, probably more than anything else. I know you said in a space that you said about 2 to 3% of your net worth you might put into this. I don't know how much of that will be on Pokemon. I know you have a decent bag of OMI, a really big bag. I think it might be bigger than mine. But for Pokemon, I see you collect the cards. That's a wall of Pokemon cards back there, right?
Yeah, so these Pokemon cards, they're actually from Logan Paul's live stream. So Logan Paul did like a charity event and stuff like that. So
yeah, I saw those.
2 packs. So I got completely ripped off. I spent $90,000 on 2 packs of first edition Pokemon cards. Got a PSA 9 Chansey. The guy was telling me, he was like, if you watch it back, is his recent box opening. The guy picks it up. The guy that I think he owns Golden Auctions. He picks up the card and he's like, if this isn't a PSA 10 Chansey, I'm going to hit the roof or whatever. And it comes back and it's a PSA 9. So he told me it's PSA 10. I'm buzzing. It's not. It's PSA 9.
Yeah, the Golden Auctions has actually, they've gone on and taken a little bit of the, not hit, a little bit of the business away from eBay, because PWCC, that was always had those auctions on eBay, no longer allowed to do those for whatever reason. So Golden Auctions kind of, filling that gap. But unless it's me or maybe a handful of other people that I know in the community, I won't trust anyone else with their grading skills. I just can't, like, that's so if you are ever looking for more, let me know. I'll let you know. Oh, this is a real 10. Speaking of which, I have some right here. We got Omastar, Masaki Omastar, Blaine's Arcanine, which just sold, and then old school Growlithe, like from 90, like before base set.
You know what one of my favorite Pokemons is?
Which one?
It used to be Arcanine. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that was Blaine's Arcanine. I just got right here. I might get a tattoo of that at some point.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That was my favorite card back in the day.
Yeah, it's the first card ever to have 120 attack on it, where the other ones, I think the other ones were up to like 100 at the time. So it's pretty historic. I love Arcanine. It's Blaine's. He has one. So I thought that was pretty cool. So is it only Charizard that you're going to sweep the floor on? What if they don't have that at first?
Only Charizard.
Okay. All right, good. So
I'm only interested in Charizard because I'm only interested in things, right? The way I look at it, so Pokemon cards right now, you can see the value. Obviously, chances are going to have value. Your Pikachu, your Red Cheeks Pikachu, whatever, is probably going to have value, right? But it's only going to have the equivalent value, probably, well, more than likely, down the line. I mean, initially it might get a massive spike and people might pay stupid money for a Pikachu, right? But realistically, over the last 10, 20 years, Pokemon's been out. There's been a ceiling to the cards. So why would everyone think that all of a sudden, just because it's now digitalized, it's going to be, $100,000? That probably isn't the case. And the probability of being right on that is going to be slim. So the way I see it is you already know the price of a PSA 10 Charizard or PSA 9 Charizard or one of the first Charizards. So you've seen what's happened with Mickey and Walt already. And I like to look at it as a probability-based thing, also as a bit of a hobby. And I see that the Charizards, their ceiling price is $250K for a PSA 10 holo. Like, I can see the digital going that way very fast. So I'm only interested in the best, which is the Charizard.
So I understand that 100%. And again, one of my businesses before I retired was in high-end collectibles, was in Pokemon cards. Part of the reason that Chansey's so expensive is because it's insanely hard to grade. Like you said, like that just came fresh out the pack in those PSA 9. There's so much hollow on it. It gets scratches very easily. It gets off center. That's why a lot of those one in the Neo Genesis ones, like Lugia, like the Typhlosion 17, they're just really hard to grade. So I don't know if Chansey, if that would reflect well in the digital version. I mean, it's a Chansey, and it's, Nurse Joy's like confidant or partner, but I don't know if that one would really go for as much as, let's say, like a Poliwrath or a Zapdos or really any others. Right. But Charizard, I do think that, yeah, you're right, because even though if you don't want to spend the PSA money for the PSA 10, you can go on and spend a tenth of that money and get the PSA 9 or an 8 and spend half of that. So I do think you're correct there.
How do you see it coming out? Do you see it coming out as the physical card with a picture, or do you see them actually just bringing out the physical, Charizard?
Well, the original purpose of the game, or of the cards, was to play the trading card game. And with that, if they're going to give us the cards, I would hope that they would give us a like a trading card game. We'd be able to play with it. So if they were to do that, most likely we would have to buy packs. They would have to be really high mint, like make 1 million packs and make them like $5, $10 a pack. And I think that, because again, if you want to play the game, you don't just want to play with one Charizard. You need like 3 or 4 Charmanders, 2 or 3 Charmeleons, and 2 Charizards. And you have like a 1 in, I think, like 32 chance of getting one. Like, actually, not even. It's I think it's like 1 in 108, because it's 1 in 16 hollows, and you have 1 hollow every three packs. So I think they'll be giving us to it in collectible, like in digital statue version, because if they're in digital cards, they would have to be packs, unless they give us the cards that we just can't play the game, which that'd be kind of a waste in my opinion. So that's my thoughts on it.
But that'll be the first time they ever do something like that, right? Because they haven't done a pack, or it's only been single drops, right, so far?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I guess it could be an evolution of like a blind box. Like, okay, well, it's a pack, and you don't know which one you're going to get. They could do that. I don't know if they would do like, okay, base set where you get all the originals, and then there's a jungle set where you can get, Snorlax, and you can get, Pidgeot, and then a fossil set where you can get Gengar. I don't know. But that's a good point. I'm very curious to see how they'll do that. Yeah, did you listen to the last AMA?
Yeah, I listened to some of it actually, and I know they came out with a few new things they were saying. What kind of worried me is they said about the move into Immutable X, and they said that obviously first editions are potentially no longer going to be first editions, because everything that hits the blockchain is going to be the same first edition, right?
Yeah, they did. I think Mr. Pags mentioned something like that, saying about the first appearances, because he's got he's kind of like you, like low mint master, where you go and all you want to buy is the low mints. The mints will stay the same. The first appearances, I think they just said that they'll still have the first appearances just for their app, and anyone else that, let's say, has a Wonder Woman license, they might also have a first appearance on theirs, but it'll really be up to the communities, like the NFT community at large, to say like which one's actually first.
That's the only thing that worries me. That does worry me, actually.
I was worried about that at first when they first came out with that, and I was like, okay, well, what if they remint it and then suddenly Spider-Man's no longer the first NFT, because you have AMC, but they're still going to have the date on when we purchased it. It'll still be updated on we'll still have that on the Go chain, on that blockchain. But also, what doesn't really worry me is that the AMC Spider-Man NFT really did not do well, which I was hoping it would. I was hoping it would do well, because that would just bring more attention to the space, but it didn't. So I'm not really worried about that yet. I'm sure I don't have as many collectibles as you, but as far as up until there's a big movement and somebody says like, well, actually, now that let's say Recur has this, and they were minted first, until a bunch of money starts coming out of Veve and goes towards something else, I'm not going to worry. Speaking of which, what do you think about Recur?
I think, obviously, I know it's backed by some big people in the industry, and I think that obviously competition is good because hopefully it'll. I know obviously Veve have been doing a great job, but competition is always good. It helps everyone in terms of, you know, from a business standpoint. You know, when you got someone up your arse, you want to move faster. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's really good, and I feel like Veve do need to move a little bit quicker with certain things because I think, you know, Gary and the team or whatever, they're going to move as fast as possible. Did I buy the Recur $300, what is it, first NFT? No, I didn't. Will I buy some of their NFTs? Yeah, potentially. I am signed up.
Okay.
No plans at the moment. No real plans. Did you?
No, I didn't, because I mean, $300. I know you can get a bunch of things with that if you want. I wanted to wait to see what the NFTs looked like, and I'm not sure if it was a Hello Kitty or a Care Bear NFT that they had previewed, and it looked cool, it looked colorful, but it was a 2D just JPEG.
Hello Kitty.
So I wasn't convinced that that's something I would want. Like if they come out with like a 3D like Riptar that looks really cool, that's, you know, around the same quality as ours, I'd be all over it. But so far they haven't shown anything like that, so I'm, you know.
So that, are they doing AR with the LiDAR or not?
They might be. They haven't shown any progress pics or anything like that yet, so I'm not 100% sure. Right now, all they have is that one image of that Hello Kitty or Care Bear doll, whichever one they have. So if they come out and they say like, "Hey, look at these 3D Real Monsters NFTs," yeah, I'll totally get some of those. But I think the reason that they had those particular ones is I think, and again, this is just speculation, that we have the Nickelodeon license for 3D premium digital collectibles, and they got another license, just not for the same things that we have.
So let me ask you a question, right? So if obviously now we've got Disney and they've got a partner statue, what if they then go with Recur and then they make another partner statue, or Disney decide to then make an NFT in the future on their own, and then which one is left to the first NFT?
Well, they wouldn't be able to take the same license and give it out to somebody else. Like they, by all means, they can go to Recur and be like, hey, if you want to make 2D digital art of these things that are already on Veve, they probably can, because it's 2D. It's just a different license. But to be able to go, and I don't think, again, I'm not a lawyer, but to make the same exact thing on their site, I don't think that would be a good look. I also don't think, Dan Chavez brought this up in a Taps Trades interview where he said, hey, we have like the first comics and we have like some of the first Disney NFTs ever. It wouldn't make much sense for Marvel to go to other places, give people those same licenses, and then say, oh, hey, I take some of these comics on this app and then go to this app and get some more comics. It just might be a little much or a little too confusing for people that have are new to this. They have to go to so many different places to complete a set.
But I suppose that's kind of why we're getting, you know, deals right now, especially when there's uncertainty. I know people don't like the fact that you can't cash out and the fact that we can't move I suppose our collectibles to different blockchains, but at the end of the day, that's a buying-in point. You can look at it in two different ways. The people that are sat on the fence and scared about that are the same people that aren't getting the same deals that you're getting because you're not scared, right? You can't make loads of money if there's no risk involved. There's got to be some type of probability that you will lose your money. Otherwise, you're going to get safe returns. The S&P 500, for example, is a simple 10% a year return. Why? Because it's safe. If you want to go beyond that, you need to take some more risk.
No, I agree 100,000%. That's how I made the money that I made. I just went all in on different projects that were seen as risky at the time, like high-end, high-risk investing or Pokemon cards or Tesla. And I don't know why some people just don't see. So I think the mainstream media is really good at FUD, and they're really good at really spreading, not, I don't want to say false information, but really pumping people with fear. And I don't, a bunch of people can see past that, but a bunch of people that don't have the time, like, oh, okay, probably not a good thing. But also, if it's someone like you with a lot of money, obviously you'd probably look into it yourself, but you want to protect what you have at that point. You don't want to put all your money into something where it's not really a guaranteed thing. I mean, you said that you had you'd put a little bit of money, and has that changed? Has it have, because you only knew for Veve of like a week before I asked you that question.
Yeah. So like it's different for me. Like if I truly believed in something 100%, then I'll put all my money into it. But this isn't something to me that I'm going to try and become rich off, if that makes any more sense, because my expertise are in creating companies, private companies, investing in people. And that's where I would gamble my whole life, everything I own. I wouldn't gamble it away on something that I don't really have any control of, only because that's me. But if I'm fully invested, like for example, like you said, you buy, sell, and you invest in OMI, and that's how you've made all your money. So you know that more than anyone else, and that's your expertise. For me to switch over now to be all in on something like OMI or any other type of crypto, that means I would have to change my whole life around to do something like that, and that's just not a position that I'm in. So for me, I invest 90% in myself, and then the 10% is things like this, is the markets, safe investments or whatever it may be. But you need to invest whatever you feel the most comfortable doing, and invest 1,000,000% and just go all and pretty much go all in. That's why following anyone listening, following your passion, like if you're interested in NFTs right now, I say it to this guy that I speak to, he's called Danny, and he's been helping me a hell of a lot. And he works as an electrician, but he's telling me to buy, things on Veve and sell them for more. And I'm thinking, okay, so you're telling me to buy them, you're making me buy them, and I'm making loads of money. But you could be doing that with your time, but instead you're going to work for an electrician for $2,000 a month. Do you know what I mean? But you're telling me how to make tens of thousands of pounds. So I'm thinking, why don't you just spend more time right now in this life-changing event? Because these events don't come around all the time. They only come around every so often, but they do come around. And when an event comes like this, and you're on the front curve of a curve that's going up, you need to go all in. That you don't get many chances to do this in life. And I said to him, you're on the cusp of making life-changing money where you don't probably have to work for the next 20 years, and this can be your new career. So don't let it slip past you. I say it to a lot of people. For me, it was the same with the gym clothing. We got on top, we got on the upper end of a curve that we didn't know existed, and that's how we made life-changing money. And that's the same thing with NFTs, crypto. You need, if you're really interested in this space right now, you need to spend a little bit of extra time every single day learning a bit more, and it'll probably be life-changing.
Yeah, no, agreed. I have an addictive personality, and that goes with good things and bad. And when I really get into something, I go like all in. Like most of my waking hours have to do with Veve and OMI and NFTs and blockchain. Like it's most of them. Like if I'm up for 18 hours a day, it is a good 15 plus. I mean, I spend a bunch of hours a day streaming, but yeah.
I see that you're really active. I see it in the whole entire community. I see you're always interviewing people all the time. You pop up. I see it because obviously, one, I've got it in the stream, in the Discord, sorry, and two, I'm subscribed to you, so I see it come up all the time, and I'm thinking he's so active. Fair play, which is obviously really, really good. And if Veve expands to where we all think it's going to expand to, then you're going to be a massive player in the scene. Anyone right now, you can see that. You've got yourself and loads of other people. I mean, as it expands, everyone's going to want to be a part of what you're creating. And who's going to know it better? Anyone coming into the industry than you. So how did you make your money then? Because I am really intrigued.
Oh,
if you want to share.
So what I did was in 2017, I just gotten out of the military in late 2016, and I went to college for one semester. I want to be an X-ray technician, and then I was like, I hate school. I am not doing this for 3 years, whatever. So I went and I got a job with my friend Dean while I was going to school, just like carrying stuff for him. Like he was just he did IT, so he'd run wires, everywhere and set up people's internet and Wi-Fi and stuff. So I'd just carry stuff for him, get him tools and all that. And it didn't pay a ton. It was just something for extra money. Mm. And then he takes me to a place where there's a bunch of like numbers on the board. And it was like I had achievement unlocked. Like I wasn't ready to learn. Like I leveled up, and at level 20, suddenly I learned the new move to be able to, I don't know, like read numbers. And I said, like, what is this place? And like, I don't know, like they sell money. I was like, what? So I find out that they do high risk lending, where they give money to people that do not qualify for bank loans. Like they have like 500-600 credit, and they just, they're over leveraged. And I go and I just look at the risk, and I say like, okay, well, why do these people credit? Why are they so bad? And it's one of two people. It's either because they don't pay their bills, or because they are in construction or trucking or whatever, and they haven't gotten paid from their previous job, and they have to take on more work, or else they lose that money. So they go on and they use the money that they have to pay their people for the next job, and they take out a bunch of credit cards to pay for material for the next job while they're waiting to get paid. I was like, okay, well, these guys are, they're due back in receivables, like an extra $60,000-$70,000, and they can't get like 10 from a bank. Like this is ridiculous, and they're already working on the next one. It's like, and I have a big problem with leaving a lot of money on the table. So even in the high, so I was really good at judging which ones were risky and which ones were not, and we would give all the guys there, we would pool our money together and be like, all right, so this person's getting 20 grand. So I'll get 3 grand from you, 3 grand from you. At the time, I didn't have money. I had like less than $3,000 when I started. And in the first couple weeks, I see that the way that the business goes and how much money you can make. And I immediately said, I'm not going back to school. So I put in every single thing that I had, every single sale that I had, that we'd get commission on. I would put that. I was living, and even to this day, like nothing but like MREs and Taco Bell, because I had no money, so I wanted to grow the business. And I did that so I started with less than 3, and 2-ish years later, I had over 100 in receivables. So then I started to get into Pokemon cards and Tesla, and I bought this card when it was like $180, and a few years later add a 0 onto that, and I did that with dozens because I knew they were undervalued.
Wow.
And the plan earlier this year, I didn't know what OMI was. The plan was to put all the money, or most of it, into Bitcoin, because I had really just started learning about blockchain. I'd really just started learning about that. So I went, but then I found out what OMI was. Like, well, this can go up a lot higher than Bitcoin. It's a lot of things can and did, but I think when you have a plan, even if it's good, if new information comes along and you say like, oh, well, this could be a lot better, then so that was that. Also, do you want to buy a number 43 Spider-Man from Fun Under the Sun?
Listen, if the price is right, I'll buy it. But if it's not silly, it's people trying to. That's the thing. When I put that on Twitter, which is nice, but people think I'm going to pay crazy money for stuff. That's not me. I will never pay. Oh, if anything's overvalued, I'm just not going to pay for it. So it has to be the right price, always the right price. So if you want to DM me the price, then fine. Be sensible.
I feel you. Yeah, so you probably get a bunch of people every day. Hey, can you buy this from me? Can you buy this from me?
Yeah, and to anyone listening, just because you check the market right and the market says something's 100,000 gems does not mean that it's going to sell for 100,000 gems. There's a lot of things that are misplaced on the market, and people just aren't buying them. I've got loads of things for sale right now, yeah, and they're underneath the actual market value, and they're not selling. So don't be misled by people's gem prices, because they are not the prices.
No, I agreed.
I say that because I don't want people to FOMO and try and lose money because they think that's the price. That isn't the price of the collectible.
Yeah, I would go and I would tell people that all the time when I had the Pokemon business. I'd be like, listen, just anyone can list anything for any amount of money that they want. Yeah. And if there's only 1 or 2 things on eBay or wherever, it doesn't mean that that's what it's going for. So yeah, I agree with that. I don't know, because a lot of people are speculating that James Bond ticket, the cheapest one was like 300 grand, and now it's gone. Like, was it bought or was it just delisted? I don't know. Did you buy it? It wasn't you, was it?
No. So someone asked me if I bought it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to pay 300 grand for a ticket. I can't. I couldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't be able to sleep.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. There's a lot of things that I think would be a lot better for your money. For example, Voltron. Were you into that back in the day?
No, so I didn't even know what Voltron was. If I'm honest, I thought the same as what most people. I thought it was a transformer, and then I actually realized it was an actual series, right?
Yeah, there was a series in the 80s, and then it was on Toonami again in the 90s, and then they rebooted it on Netflix for like the last few years for a new one, and that's what this one is based on. It's the new one.
Right.
So I wasn't 100% that all into it either, but later on this afternoon, I got this one guy, Ty McDonough, that's like a just weeb extraordinaire, and he's a good friend of mine. He's coming on, he's like, oh, it's going to give us all the price breakdown on which ones we should buy and which ones we shouldn't. Just came out with a tweet with that, so I'm excited for that.
Now, shout out to everyone that's in the stream. I saw what Chad popped up and everyone else that's in here. So
yeah, NFT Pirates is here.
Yeah, appreciate you guys coming in.
You mentioned before you had a boxing metaphor, like, well, you can't get in, you can't really tell people how to box unless you're in there, you're slipping. When you were into fitness, did you ever do martial arts?
So yeah, actually at one point I did a little bit of MMA, boxing, but the majority of my time has been spent in the actual gym, just doing weights, generally speaking. I've had one Thai fight, but that's about it really. Yeah. I like to do anything fitness. I think it's good to be in a routine. Anything that keeps you in a routine is really healthy for you. I think it keeps you on track. I think in today's world as well, with social media and stuff, it's really easy to just, look at what someone else is doing and think, I want to just go change my life up and do what they're doing. But it doesn't really work like that. It's nice just to keep yourself in a nice routine and always think, there's a lot of people that would wish to be in your position as you wish to be in other people's position. It doesn't matter what you've got, who you are. Everyone thinks the same.
Yeah, agreed. I found it, I don't know if you get this, but I found it a little hard. I guess especially after last year, because gyms were closed in New York for like 8 months. How did you deal with that? Was stuff closed for a long time last year for you guys? How did you work out?
So last March, I think we fully closed down.
Yeah.
Gyms were pretty much shut for a while, but at the same time, I was building a house, so I actually built myself a gym in my garage. So we got this triple garage, so I just loaded it up with loads of gym kits. So all my friends were coming around, we were all training, so it was like we were teenagers again. We were loving it, so it's quite nice actually, to be fair. So I generally kept in shape, but I do intermittent fasting for anyone that doesn't know what that is. I fast. Do you as well?
Yeah.
So I probably fast until like, I don't know, maybe 3. I'll fast until about 3 or 4 p.m. So maybe not as long as most people, but it keeps me in shape. I'm quite lucky in terms of metabolism. I always train, but intermittent fasting as I'm getting older is a really good tool for me to stay in shape, and it makes me feel so sharp. I feel really sharp. I have like MCT oil in the morning, obviously all your fish oils, and I just feel sharp. Can't say anything more. If I eat too many carbs, it makes me feel really tired.
Same. I had this, my friend Phillips told me about it like years ago, like 2014, 2015. And I was like, at the time, because I was always super skinny. And I was like, if I don't eat for that long, because I was always eating. So like, if I don't eat for that long, I get hangry, which I still did when I first started that. But yeah, now it's almost easy. Now it's like, oh, yeah, I should probably eat. But I'll do the intermittent fast for maybe not like long. I don't go like 18 hours a day, but I'll fast for about 14-ish, 16 hours, and then the rest will be after that. There is some people that say I don't eat anything, like it's just water, but some people do say that coffee actually does restart that process.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
So yeah, no, I have heard that, but at the same time, I've watched, I think it's Dr. Rhonda Patrick. Have you seen her?
Oh, I love her. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think she's done. I think and maybe Dr. Is it Roddy McGee or there was another guy? I can't remember his name. There's another guy. He's always on Joe Rogan, and he's Ben Greenfield as well. He's good too, and they speak about it. And I think from what they've said, it doesn't. But I don't really drink that much coffee anyway. I try and stay away from it, only because it gives me too many highs and lows. And yeah, I try and stay away from it, to be fair. So
yeah, because the reason why I get this argument with my friend Lou all the time, who's really big into intermittent fasting. And he's got this thing called like it's called super slow, where you just you don't take really heavy weight. It's just you just do like 10 reps for 10 seconds, or as long as you can before you. Yeah. But yeah, Dr. Ron and Patrick had always said, well, anything outside of water will start it. Like I was like, oh, okay, well maybe coffee that starts it. And he was saying no, so I was like, it seems to be pretty widely debated.
Yeah, but I know you can take like even ketone supplements to knock you back into ketosis and stuff like that. Should you be on in ketosis anyway?
Yeah, I watch Joe Rogan a lot too, or I did before I moved to Spotify. Now I kind of catch them in passing, whenever like clips or whatever go on YouTube. But speaking of which, would you ever go on, or would you ever want to go on like a Joe Rogan, or would you ever want to go on like someone that has like a Sam Harris or Jordan Peterson, Jocko Willing, something like that?
Sure, why not? Yeah, Jordan Peterson. No, I really like Jordan Peterson, to be fair. So no, I would, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love him too. What's next for you? What's your next endeavor? What's your next thing that you want to really get into outside of Veve?
Yeah, so right now, I've actually started a new company which is called Able Group, which is a UK e-commerce company. I feel like we've got a lot of experience within e-commerce. We've built some really good brands. So currently, the company's called Able Group. It consists of 2 different companies at the moment, which is Because of Alice, which is a UK women's fashion clothing company, and Able, which is mainly a women's activewear company, and we are actively seeking to invest in other e-commerce companies. The reason at the moment we stay to e-commerce is because we know that if anyone joins our header of brands, we will make them succeed 1,000,000%. Whereas if it was something like tech, I don't really have any background in tech, so I wouldn't be comfortable saying to someone, we're the guys to invest in you because we're going to take you to the next level, just because we don't feel we have the expertise in that at the moment. Eventually we will build out the groups where we get founders on and we get other people into the group where they have the knowledge behind them for us to be able to say, like, we'll take your company to the next level within tech, and these guys will help us do it. So it's mainly an e-commerce group. We're creating it, and potentially we've got some real big plans at the moment to potentially list, or see where we take it. Let's see.
Yeah, in 2020 I wanted to take some profits with Tesla and take some profits wherever, and I did want to make a women's clothing group, because most notably, like most every girl that I've ever run into just said, like, I wish this had pockets, or deeper pockets, or any type of pockets. So I just had that idea, I pulled on Facebook, and everyone's like, yeah, I would totally buy from you. And then the pandemic happened. I was like, okay, I don't know how to get, it's probably not a good idea to get people close in a room like that. So it never took off. But I'm glad I'm guessing that's part of the thing. You want to put pockets on everything.
Yeah, so like obviously women love to shop. They just love they buy a lot more than men. They buy more frequently, and they buy more impulsively, and they love word of mouth. They're always talking to each other, which is great for business. I mean, the pandemic, to be honest, would have been a perfect time for you to start. So for most businesses that have retail, while they were closing down, online was booming. You've seen the numbers. I mean, you obviously follow stocks closely. All you need to do is go and look at Nike's quarter earnings for the last year. They've absolutely smashed it out of the park. Look at Lululemon's share price, how much it's gone up. You look at most things last year, you could have thrown a dart at anywhere on the wall and you could have made money in the last 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Invest in anything.
I messed up on that. I messed up pretty hard on that. But again, I threw a lot of it into other things that worked out for me as well. And that's what I like about Veve and a lot of cryptos, is that when you invest in that, you have other people working on it. You have other people working to make it better. And it's like, that's beautiful. Something that's already good. I don't know. So for me, one of the things I plan to do in the next few years is buying land in like Madagascar and Indonesia for animal conservation. Right. Winjin Parker asked, will Gymshark do any shark preservation? Is that something that you guys want to add in mind?
I don't know. That would be pretty cool if they did do that. Again, yeah. I can't comment because I'm not an owner of the company anymore, but that would be pretty cool. That would be cool. I told you, someone commented saying, Lewis is the new gem shark, and it made me laugh, to be fair.
I feel that. I feel you. So I love that you have it's fun talking about your successes. It's fun talking about what you're doing next. What do you think was like a big failure for you? What's something that you're like, I shouldn't have done that, and maybe you learned from it or didn't?
Oh, don't know, because, it's corny, but a failure, as people say, a failure is only a failure if you didn't learn anything from it. So I wouldn't change anything that's happened to me in my life, nothing at all, because, I wouldn't be sat here if things had happened in the past. I might not be sat here today, right? You only have to turn out a different side of the road, and you change someone else's life forever. Like if you overtake someone and you pass a light and they end up sitting at the red light, that changes. So there's too many variables. I wouldn't change anything that's ever happened to me. I don't regret anything that's ever happened. Everything that's happened has been a great learning curve. But I mean, if we relate it back to Veve, should I have bought more Tods? Maybe. Should I have bought more Spider-Man, commons? Yeah, maybe. So, things for me as well is you always need a plan. And when you deviate from your plan, things go tits up. So like I came into Veve with a plan, and I deviated as well from the plan a little bit more than I should have. And I ended up buying, loads of sub hundreds that I probably shouldn't have even bought, because they're going to be worthless in 20 years time, 10 years time, because no one's going to know what they are. They've got no IP behind them.
Yeah.
So, that probably, recently I regret that.
Okay. So that's something that you might have. So yeah, ever have anything that you took a big loss on? And it's like, oof, that hurt. Or do you strategically do it so if you lose what your investment, it's not a huge deal?
That's why I don't go all in anything. Obviously, I like to be diverse. Anytime that I feel I'm smarter than the world, that's a big problem. And I personally can't go, because I know that I've got faults. I'm not the smartest person in the world, right? I understand that. So I would never hedge all my money on something just because I know things can go wrong. So I'll manage my risk depending on what it's on. If it's something in the stock market, then I have to be diversified for sure. Just because I can't control it. I'm not the one behind those companies. I don't control it. If it's something for me personally, then yeah, I'm happy to put all my eggs in one basket, because I'm the one that can control those things.
Yeah.
How about you? How do you manage that?
So I this is going to sound really stupid. I might lose some of your respect, but I did do a bunch of the research, and I was 100% confident in every single investment that I put in. But at the end of the day, I get really, really lucky. I was born very lucky. Like I was born in Peru, like in like bad third world country, but I essentially won the lottery and got adopted out of there. I brought to the States, like one in a billion, probably shot. And just finding things where people think that like, they say Tesla is a bad company to invest in because they didn't like the CEO and they didn't turn a profit, but nobody's looking at like why they weren't turning a profit, like what they were spending their money on, and these new cars and these new products. CEO is a lot more than just some weird Twitter stuff. So I get lucky that people just they don't see the forest for the trees are in the way, and I just you deep dive into it and you just capitalize. But I have this is the last time that I will go all in on something. Like, and when I say all in, like there is no money in my bank account. There's like I had more money in my bank account in 2017 when I got out of the military than I do right now. It's like all in crypto and it's all in digital collectibles.
Yeah, so same with me. All my money is invested too. I don't have any money personally. I don't spend on extravagant things. I literally put all my money straight back into the markets, because why not? Like, I didn't have money in the first place, so just get rid of it all. Hopefully make loads more money, of course. But I don't hold any cash. It's invested into different things, different projects, whatever it may be. I just rotate capital from industry to industry. That's all I do.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So you got adopted out of Peru. That's the crap. So how does that work? Why?
So we have a. I don't know 100%. But from what I've been told, the people that adopted me, that they said like, okay, well, they couldn't have kids, so okay, well, I got really lucky there and I think it's just because in Peru it's a little cheaper than getting someone, adopting an American baby, I think.
Right.
So the real only expense is going down there. But apparently, like the story, and I don't know if this is embellished at all, where they had to drive down to fly into a certain place, drive through like the Andes Mountains, where the guy's like, I see white people in the car, and the guy's like running all these red lights, and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, listen, you stop for these red lights, the snipers will get you. And they're like, what? It's like, I don't think they knew 100% what they signed up for when they were going down there. And I guess the judge hadn't signed off on something like a week prior, and the adoption had to be within a certain date of when I was born, and it wasn't. So they had to pay off the lawyer to make my birthday. I was born on December 15th, and they said that, okay, well, push it up a week. We'll make it the 22nd, so that it's within this line. And the judge kind of knew, so I had to pay the judge off, and it wound up costing him a bit of money. But the judge was drunk when that happened, apparently. So it was. Then they brought me back out of there, and there's no record keeping in Peru. When I was about to join the military, the recruiter was like, all right, I need a birth certificate, and then it's like, sir, I was born in a house with no roof, and there was no hospital, there's no birth certificate, and he's like, oh man. So I had to bring citizenship papers. Yeah, it was really crazy.
That's a pretty amazing story, to be fair. I mean, mine's not that crazy. I mean, I just had a normal, I suppose just a normal life, normal family. That's why, see, I love speaking to different people from different places, because the rise of everyone else, and everyone seems to get to the same place, but from different angles, which is just unbelievable how people just meet up. Which is why I think, again, Veve are onto something special, because they're bringing so many different people from so many different races together. That's why they're going to be I don't know what the value of their company is right now, but they're going to be a multi-billion-dollar company for sure, just because of the community they're building, the feel that everyone has attached to Veve, which is something that not many people can create. It needs to be the right time, the right product. Everything needs to stack up, and they've done it really, really well. And the way they speak and talk to their actual community from a brand point of view is just brilliant.
Yeah, and the people at the helm are successful in their own right, already. And it's a passion project. They do it for the love, and you have people again. I almost feel like it's that Lord of the Rings scene where they're all meeting at Rivendell, and you have the men with Aragorn, you have Legolas and the elves, Gimli and Zors, and we're all meeting as a fellowship. And but really the big thing why I know that this is going to be big is. I'm generally very cheap. Again, in Taco Bell and MREs, just so I can save more money, so I can buy more OMI, and so I can get more collectibles. And I have no issue spending thousands of dollars on these digital things and taps trades too.
Right.
He was showing me you got to come to one of the cons one day, Designer Con or San Diego.
I will definitely come. Don't you worry about that. I'll be there.
Yes. So he's telling me in the room, he's like, yeah, I spent this much, because it was Disney week that week. It's yeah, I spent this much on Elsa, thousands of dollars, on all of them. And then he wants to play me a video on his phone, a YouTube video. And then he goes to click play, and then I hear an ad. It's Tabs, is that an ad? You don't pay the $12 a month for the YouTube no ad thing? It's I told you, man, I'm cheap. You just told me you spent $3,000 on this. So it's getting people that are very frugal, and it's having them spend thousands, like yourself. You said you don't have that much.
Yeah, but I don't mind spending it, because I can relay it back to something in the physical world that already has value. That's why it's so easy for me to kind of be attracted to something like this, because it already exists. People will always collect things. They will never stop collecting things. And as we get older, and as the physical collectibles start to degrade and break down, and more people start to get into collecting, people then people will pass away with collectibles. They'll just, I don't know what will happen to them. They'll end up getting trashed. So the amount of people will be coming up here, whilst the real collectible will be going down, and this will have to spill into digital. So it's only going to go that way. It's just who owns what IP goes the furthest, which way they look at, those are all the variables at this moment in time. You can't really control, which metaverse, sandbox, who owns what, which one is everyone. At the end of the day, the most value is going to be where the most people are. So who's going to own that space? Because if Facebook own a certain place, Sandbox own a place, but Facebook don't allow certain things in, you know what I mean? I don't know what's going to evolve in the future. So you never know.
Yeah, I see that as this as a major disruption, where you have these physical collectibles that I didn't feel comfortable having a PSA 10 trophy Kangaskhan at my house. I didn't feel comfortable having a lot of these collectibles at my house. So I got, a bank vault for them. And, like, what's the point of having some of these collectibles if you're just going to put them in, like my next place, I'll get a floor safe and, guns everywhere. I'll be fine. But, what's the point of having a bunch of these collectibles if you can't look at them, if you can't take them out because you're worried about sun damage, if you're worried about dropping them? And especially now, I don't have a lot of space. Dan Chavez had this thing where he buys a lot of the physical collectibles that are paired with this. Like he bought a Todd McFarlane Batman, physical and all that. And, get a house and you get 3 bedrooms and 1 bedroom's dedicated to all your collectibles. It's just how much are you really spending for it? So it's wildly, they're tapping into something great, innovative, disruptive. It's crazy. That's why I went all into it.
I mean, I do think AR is probably going to be first. I mean, personally, and this is me being honest, I think we're a while away from any type of metaverse stuff because Oculus has existed for a long time already. Do you know anyone that uses it? I don't, and I game a lot. I don't know anyone that uses it realistically. I've tried it. It makes me feel sick when you sat there, you're moving around, and I just think that we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, if I'm honest. I feel like there could be some type of near-term pullback or whatever. I don't know what. I just think, look, you've seen it with AMD and Nvidia. Look at the stocks; they're so overvalued because people are on such a hype of how many chips we're going to have in the future, where everything's going. Sentiment is up here at the moment. At some point, it's going to come back to ground level. But I do think there's going to be a massive use for AR in the very near term.
Yeah, agreed. I have a Oculus Quest right over there on my stove, and I've used it. I got it in I don't know, May. I've used it 3 times. Yeah. So yeah, it was very, I do agree with that. I do think that as the Moore's Law, once it becomes a lot cheaper and the masses can really get it for under $100 instead of $300, I think that'll be better.
But okay, let me ask you a question though. You've got one and you have one and you still don't use it. But so why? Do you know what I mean? Obviously, price isn't the issue. You just don't use it because I don't know why don't you use it?
So I think it's also part of the reason why I also Pokemon Brilliant Diamond came out a few weeks ago, and once upon a time, I scheduled leave, in the military or terminal leave around these games. I would take off work and I just haven't now because that would take away from YouTube, that take away from whatever. I have the game, but if this were 3 years ago, I would have beaten that that weekend. But also part of the reason because I'm a little messy. I have the room if I were to clean up this room over here, but it is not it is not clean. So if I were to do that, clean everything up, yeah, I would totally love to go into Quest bowling and Quest, whatever. But it's just, I just haven't. I've just.
So you reminded me of something. So that I forgot about the space. You need a big. Most people don't have big spaces. The guys that are going to be using the Oculus on a daily or whatever basis, they're probably going to be younger people to start with. Younger people live at their mom and dad's house. They don't have ample space to take over rooms and. Do you know what I mean? So until they start to narrow things down where you don't need a big area, you don't need to sit there with a huge headset on. I think, we're at a place where I don't see how it's going to work right now. Maybe they do it 2D at the moment. It's on a screen. Do you know what I mean? Like World of Warcraft, you can go into the game almost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Similar to how we do right now with AR, but something like that is probably going to be the way we go first until it starts to branch out into these when new technology actually comes in.
I think so as well. I kind of compare it back to the Wii in 06 when Nintendo Wii came out, and where you had to clear some space. And my friend Justin broke his ceiling fan because when we were playing tennis, and he goes, yeah, and then he's like, comes crashing down. There's definitely a learning curve, but I do think younger people will be the pioneers of that, because that's just how they're raised. I don't know of any young person right now that would play an old school video game with a controller that's still wired into it. Even if you have old school stuff like GameCube or Wii's, you'd have a Wavebird so that you wouldn't have to have a wire. So I think as those kids start to grow up, I mean, technology won't be moving backwards. It'll just, the amount of people that don't use this stuff will die off, but the amount of people that do use it will only increase.
Yeah.
But yeah, AR probably first. Kind of like a Pokemon Go type deal. But again, when the Veveverse is coming out, it'll be like on the computer. It'll be like a game, like Decentraland or Earth 2 or something like that.
What do you think about this idea? So what if what if Veve did something similar to Pokemon Go, where you meet up to go to drops instead of just tapping on your phone?
Yeah.
You go to a certain location and you see, I don't know, whatever it is there, and it's kind of like you meet up and do the drop there. You have to go out, look around, like as if it's Pokemon Go.
Yeah. What Pokemon Go did, and I'm sure for those of you that don't, they took already an existing layout of a geocache system, or like a geocache game where you would go to these places and you would have and big landmarks are the gyms, or big landmarks are the Pokestops or whatever. If Veve were to do the exact same thing and be like, hey, meet up at these landmarks, and you can go for, you can battle your Wonder Woman versus the Joker. Somebody has ownership of this, for their team, and they have Joker and Superman. So I think that would be really cool in the future. And then for drops as well. I don't know what the purpose would be for the drops. I guess to meet up with people, like, hey, you here for the drop? Because a lot of people would want Wi-Fi. They would want, they're in their homes, or they have strong Wi-Fi, they're right next to the router. I think it would be hard to get people to leave that, to go somewhere where there's no Wi-Fi and just trust the cell data.
But obviously, at that point in time, you're not competing against many people, because you're that you only get the drop if you're there. Do you know what I mean? So it's not competing. Okay. So do you know what I mean? You're not sat there competing with 100 million bots. You're actually going, you're meeting people that are in the same community as you, and potentially trading NFTs too between you whilst you're there, or you know what I mean? So you can have the drop. So you only get the drop if you go. It's on a timer. It's a 30-minute drop. You go there. You got 30 minutes to get it. If you get it, if you don't turn up, you miss it forever.
That's a good point. That's a good call. I do think that and again, my mind just goes to like all the scenarios that some people in like Ohio or Illinois that would just be like, there's nothing like that around me. I would feel bad for them, and I do picture them complaining. But yeah, that would be so much fun. I think that would be more of a net positive than anything. That'd do a lot of good. And just to be able to get people to meet each other, because not everybody has Facebook or Twitter, and they're like, oh, they might not know about this whole community thing.
Or even what if they did one for Decon? If you come to Decon, you get a special Decon NFT or whatever it is. So it gives you an incentive to actually go exactly the same way that people have done this. AMC did it with Spider-Man. Do you buy our ticket, you're getting a free NFT, but you're not really, because you're paying for it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like same thing, Veve could do one at Decon. Like, this is a special Veve NFT, one of one. You only get it if you come to Decon. Like that, people would more incentive to come as well.
It really, not that it concerned me, but it was very interesting how Decon didn't sell out of their tickets, whereas so at first I was like, oh man, it's probably not going to be that many people there. Like, should and people wanted me to go. Some people said they were going. It's like, okay, I'll go. And then it turned out to be Veve fam took over, which is great. But I do think that in the future, they would have to really work with Decon and be like, okay, we need a certain amount of tickets that we can give away that are guaranteed for us for these NFTs. Because if they say, oh, hey, buy this Decon ticket and then get the NFT, and let's say they make 1,000 of them, and then only like 300 can buy the tickets. What do they do with the mint numbers? What do they do that way? And then some people might just buy the ticket and then just for the NFT and not even go. So that some logistics might have to be worked out, but that'd be really fun. Or if you have the ticket, you can, and you're there, you can have a con exclusive one only if you're there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's geolocated. If you can't just buy a ticket online, because if you're not physically there with your phone, you can't get the drop. So
that'd be good.
They've got loads of potential ways they can build in some type of social aspect, so it's not just another NFT project where everyone sits behind their screen. Obviously, I know it's not, because they've got IP and stuff, which is absolutely brilliant, and they need to continue to keep pushing the IP. But in the long term, how else can we force people to jump on this app? Like extra incentives. Mint numbers are great and stuff, but is there a way we can showcase them better across our social media? Is there a way we can showcase them to the world more? Is there a website that can be built where you can physically search who owns the one of one, or the first ever Batman Risso? Because that's all people care about, really. You only own it because you want to flex on people. Otherwise, you wouldn't own it. Do you know what I mean? Most people want people to know within the community is that they own a certain thing. So there's a few other things they could potentially build in, which they probably will. I know it's only early stages. And when you're a business, you need to get everything right. So things move slower than the outside customer would want. But when you're a business, you have to move slowish, just because you need to get everything right.
Yeah.
And sorry, they're doing an incredible job, man. I want to add, they're doing such a good job of moving fast and professionally. A really, really good job.
Yeah, that's why I love them as well, because they are a private company. They're small. There's not a lot of red tape. If they get like on the fly, they could just change, and just on the turn of a dime. It's that's another reason why they're going to be more successful than what I said. Facebook's Meta or their metaverse, because there's so much red tape that has to go through. Again, it's a public company, and I'm not saying that Veve won't be a public company in the future. That they might be at one point, but what other companies might take a year to do, they could do in a month. Just because they're at the helm. Also, when you're talking about flexing, yes, I would totally get something to flex, but also I would get a bunch of Pikachus. Let's say they make 1 million Pikachus, and let's say they're not worth that much. I would still get like 1,000 of those, just so I could go in the Veveverse. If they have the ability to have your collectibles follow you around, I would just like to run somewhere, run up with someone with 1,000 Pikachus. That'd be pretty fun. But what do you think about communicating through glasses? Do you think that by the end of the decade, phones might not be phones anymore, or we might not use them the same way?
Look, absolutely, everything is possible. I mean, if you were asked 20 years ago, would you have an iPhone that you carried around with you all the time? You'd probably say no. Do you know what I mean? So absolutely, I think the next 20 years of innovation, next 10 years of innovation is going to be absolutely incredible. Everyone's so super connected now. Everyone's on social media all the time. It's not like, when you used to play a game. So I used to play this game all the time called RuneScape. And back then, you were the one. You couldn't really speak to people online. No one really spoke to that many people. So you would do things and you would have to learn yourself. Whereas now they've reintroduced the game, and people have pretty much destroyed the game within the space of a year, because they've got so good at it, because everyone speaks online all the time, and that comes down to everything. The rate of innovation for the human race is the fastest it's ever been, because everyone is sharing ideas and learning together online. We're like a massive computer system now, and you could argue we're approaching a dangerous point in civilization, because it's just we're just growing and moving so fast. So I think there's going to be things that we can't even imagine or discuss going to come out in the next 20 years.
I do think that one of the things I worry about with technology is AI, the artificial intelligence, where for cars that's fine, because they're cars, with full self-driving and all that, that's okay. But what happens when you have that? We have an AI robot, and their job is to, I don't know, make Harry Potter wands, and then they don't understand that humans have life, because they're programmed just to make wands, and they say okay, well, this person can turn me off and will prevent me from making wands, so let me kill this person so that I can make more. I do worry about that. I do love that humans are so willing to share like a bunch of people giving out tips on how they do the drops, on how they get one. A bunch of people saying like, hey, I'm buying OMI for this reason. Like I will never have a like you have a free Discord. I'll never have like a paid thing like, oh, you have to pay $20 a month to go get in here, for my Patreon level stuff. No, all my content's free. So I'm very positive on humans. I'm very so I'm what's your biggest fear with technology?
I think probably, like you said, that I think we are so smart that we're going to outsmart ourselves, because we're going to create something that's just going to keep creating itself. And as you said, the things we don't want to do things in small amounts. We just keep outdoing ourselves year after year after year, and at some point it's going to end bad. How that ends, when it ends, I don't really know. But I think, as you said, the only way we can get rid of ourselves is to be creating technology that will do that.
I think I am slightly more optimistic, because if there is something like, they I think it was Reagan mentioned it, saying that, oh, wouldn't it be interesting how quickly the differences between the US and Russia would disappear if, Martians were to come down and invade, or, they did it in Watchmen, where they that one guy had basically made like a nuclear holocaust for Dr. Manhattan and blames it on him, so US and Russia could unite against it. I think if there is a threat that would threaten humanity, I think a lot of us would band together. So I'm a little more positive on that. But so with that being said, would you get a Neuralink, like if it improved your like vision, or it improved your reaction time?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm all for stuff like that. Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, as long as it was trialed right and it wasn't going to send me a bit loopy any more than I already am. But I would definitely do it. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would do that. I would be the first one. I would just, I don't have a sense of smell, so I'm very curious to see what things smell like, and then if I don't like it, they could turn it off.
How from birth or from COVID?
Yeah, I think it's from birth, because I had my when I was like 3, my grandma said like, hey, smell this flower, it's like really pretty. So, and it was like a really warm summer day, and I put the flower against my face, and I realized like, okay, it's a cooler temperature than the temperature that's outside. And I know people had made stuff like, oh, in a gym people get sweaty because they get hot. So my mind thought that cooler temperatures smelled good and hot temperatures smelled bad, because like nobody had taught me, I didn't know anything else. So I thought that until I was like 9 or 10, because there was an Angry Beavers episode where Norbert gets like sprayed by a skunk, and then Daggett plays like scientist trying to get him to unstink himself, and he throws him in the trash because he gives up. And then the computer says, oh, he doesn't stink, so stink plus more stink equals less stink. And I was like, okay, that makes sense, math. And then when I was like 10, like everyone's like, you're a fucking idiot, like that's not how this works. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I realized that thing. So now I'm like really self-conscious, like, do I smell? So I always have like deodorant on me. I always shower like twice a day. So yeah, I'd be curious with that. But you said you were a little weirder than you already are. Like you want to make sure that Neuralink doesn't make you too loopy.
Yeah.
To get to some of your decisions, have you ever taken any psychedelics like mushrooms or Lucy? You haven't. So all of that is just your brain. That's because I have done that many times, and that most of the decisions I've made, financial success decisions, were because of those.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Any curiosity for them, or is that just something that's like, nah, I don't want to mess with it?
No, I don't really think. I mean, unless to have fun, right? I mean, I don't feel like I need anything like that to be creative. Creativity comes personally from speaking to someone like you or anyone else. The best ideas come when you speak to other people, and you'll have a conversation, and then the idea will just start from then. So no, never really explored, to be fair. No.
Okay. Yeah, that was Obviously, not a doctor, everyone listening, not medical advice, but yeah, that's totally something I go in and I don't want to say like a lot, like I don't have like an issue, but if I do have something where I don't trust my instincts as much as I would like to, and I want to get an outside perspective, I'll take it, and that's how I went all in on Tesla, how I went all in on Veve and OMI,
Yeah.
just because of that.
So it's your so that's like your decision maker. I'm assuming then, right? It's just. So do you have the idea and then you take those things, or do you take those things then you get the idea?
I usually have what I want to think about in mind, and when I choose to think about them, then it's really weird. It's like it's like looking at a bunch of letters, and then you're not sure what to make of it, but then you take like a cheat code, like give me a hint, and oh, these letters can spell this or they can spell this. So you're looking at a problem and you're not sure what to make of it, and then you get so many ideas on how to solve it or go about it. It's like a professional poker player saying like, well, it's a pair of tens, there's a lot of different ways you can play that, and here's how you do it. So that's how I do it. But cool. So I also haven't had a bad trip. There are some people that just get silly and just stupid. But,
yeah.
But so when you were going through all of these things, what was your final decision maker? Did you go someone to like a close friend or a mentor that says like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you think? Or was it just yourself and your own intuition?
Is that question in respect to what? Sorry, what's that question in respect to business or what?
Well, I guess anything. It could be, a business, could be girlfriend, it could be, hey, instead of going to bodybuilding or weightlifting, I'm going to go into martial arts. Like who would you talk to for those types of things?
Like it's usually your friendship group. So your friendship group, or generally speaking, your friendship group is, or the people you speak to on a daily basis is they're your biggest influences in the world. At school, most people. So for me, for example, at school, I was a bit of a class clown. Why? Because my friends were the same. I'm trying to impress my friends. Or you do everything for the people around you, right? So you're a product of your environment. So if you want a better future, get better, find some better friends to spend some time on, or try and influence them to become better. You don't need to necessarily find new people, but try and influence the way they're making decisions and things like that to try and better everyone. That's what it's all about, right? And if you don't have anyone around you that's like that, then there's millions and millions of people online you can tap into that are waiting for someone like you to speak to on a daily basis. So luckily for me, my friends have all been very, very successful. We all came from the same school. They're all multimillionaires in their own right, from creating brands from the ground up. Never came from any background, never had a penny given to us, not once. We've never ever asked for anything. I'd rather lose money trying to make money myself than ask for help all the time, because you learn more trying to ask. Like, if someone asks me a question, I'm like, that's an answer that you could potentially just Google yourself. And I mean, I don't mind trying to answer it, but you won't learn anything by asking me. You need to try and dive down the rabbit hole and learn things yourself, because they stick a lot longer. It's a real hobby at the moment for people to read books and pretend they know everything. But realistically, just because you read a book, you don't know. Do you know what I mean? There's a massive difference between reading and doing. Who would you rather have fix your car? Someone that's read an apprenticeship book for 2 years, or someone that's been working on cars for 2 years? It would always be the person that's been on cars, right? So someone interviewed me the other day, and I was speaking to this young chap, and he's actually doing a university degree at the moment in film study, and he was speaking to me, and he was like, I'm really nervous. I really want to get a 1-1. And I said to him, like, I'm not being funny, but if I wanted to employ you, I would not even look at your 1-1. I would say, what have you done before? And what's your Instagram look like? You show me some of the work that you've done. I'll be able to tell how creative you are. I don't care what university you've been to. I don't care what grades you've got, because I didn't get any grades. Grades don't define you in today's world. Like, academic intelligence is not enough. The world is your oyster. The internet is a massive evolving thing that you can create and be anyone you ever want to be. So, I mean, I don't know where I was going with the whole thing, but to answer your question, the question was, I've just gone off on a massive tangent. I don't even know what I was saying.
No, I love that. I love that you're getting passionate about things. And I noticed that for years. Like, before I went to the military, I was in the veterinary field for like 8 and 9 years. And, we would have these unlicensed veterinary technicians that never went to school, but they were at it for years, like sometimes decades even. And they would run circles around the licensed technicians that went to school and they were just fresh out of school for like, 1 to 2 years. Like the experience is got to be the most important thing. I mean, to know why certain things happen. Yeah, it's good to know that. But even like surgeons, like, have someone that just went to school specifically like to do laparoscopic surgery. If they're going to do a surgery and it is like not a textbook thing, like something's in the way. Some of those surgeons, like, I don't know what to do. So yeah, you need that experience. I agree 100%.
I think surgeon on that point, I feel like soon we're about to approach a time in life as well where surgeons are going to be able to perform, real good surgery. Obviously, you've got robots at the moment that people rent out that do keyhole surgeries on, very simplistic things. But I feel like there's going to be a point in time, probably very soon, where surgeons are going to be able to do surgeries remotely through, I don't know, online, through their PC, however it's set up. You could be in America and I could be a surgeon, for example, in the UK. I don't have to go anywhere, and I can remove your tumor from my house. I feel like we're really close to something like that. And once things like that start to happen, then bloody hell, I mean, anything's going to happen then. that's going to be a life and game changer. Yeah,
I see that already with, let's say like tumors, where you're trying to read an X-ray and, humans can only see, only a couple different types of gray, maybe like a dozen or whatever. But, computers like AI, they can see like 1,000 different types of gray. I didn't even know that many existed. Yeah. But yeah, I think humans are getting phased out. Similar, again, it'll be like a video game. Somebody that can, hey, this is what you do, and you, like you said, do it from your house, or again, even AI might be able to do that. Just program it in, and then they can do it. So really curious.
Yeah, they already definitely do that. I was watching a program actually the other day, and these health organizations, they rent them out. They've got robots. They perform keyhole surgeries. Pretty simple keyhole surgeries. But even like you just press, different. Say like we're in step 1. You press step 1. Whatever. Obviously, in more of a, they've got steps on them, and you have to press them on each thing, and the robot just performs the surgery. So all you need is someone there to basically, one, in case something goes wrong, and two, just to make sure the robot is working correctly, which is really cool.
Yeah. I think that would probably create more jobs than it takes away, because you have people that design the robots, have people that fix them and diagnose them. So there can be, a lot of people say that technology will get rid of jobs, which it probably will, but I think a lot of the jobs that they get rid of, might not be jobs that people might want anyway. Cashier at a grocery store. Now we have the do it yourself.
Yeah.
But you were saying before that, if you don't have these certain amount of friends, or these certain particular friends get better friends, that's really hard for some people to hear, because some people, maybe they're just socially awkward. They don't have that many friends to begin with. And it's like, okay, well, how do I make more? Do you think you got lucky with the friends that you met, or you're just good at knowing which ones people are like, you're a good person and I should stay away from you?
No, that was probably me more misspeaking. That's probably, when I say get better friends, I don't mean you have to kick everyone out of your life, but, try and help improve. If your friends want to improve their life, then all sit around the table and say, like, we want to, be honest with yourselves. If you're in a position or you feel like your friends aren't pulling their weight with your social commitments, because at the end of the day, it's like me and you having a conversation. Like, our conversation wouldn't work if we both weren't giving 100%. And that's the same with friendships. You have to both be on the same wavelength. It's the same as a relationship. You need to be on the same wavelength as your partner. Otherwise, it just isn't going to work. Friendships only work when 2 people are on the same, 2, 3, 4 people, whatever it is, on the same wavelength. So if I'm trying to be up here and you only want to stay down there, then at some point we're going to drift apart. So you just need to be honest with yourself and honest with your friends. There's so many different ways that you can make new friends. They're all online. If you are into crypto, then join some of the crypto chats. There's so many smart people out there that haven't found the right opportunity for them to build $1 million company or whatever it is, but they're very educated and they can help you, get to financial freedom, or just help you build life skills and your learning skills on a daily basis. So I don't necessarily mean, just kick all your friends out of your life, whatever. But there's plenty of things you can do to improve your life. But just sitting back and listening to people isn't going to do that for you. You're the only one that can make that happen. I say it to everyone. The most important thing to anyone that needs to change their life is action. Before anything else, you can read all the books you want, you can do all the research you want, but if you never put it into action, then you're never going to create something of yourself or whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, one of the issues I've had, I'm curious how you deal with it, like where you have so many different interests, like Pokemon and fitness and clothing and crypto. How do you balance the time with all your different projects that you do and still hanging with people that you love? Well, again, I have friends in all those groups that we just said, guys that I spar with, people that I play Pokemon with. How do you balance it all?
Well, truthfully, right, if you really want to be involved with something, you actually physically enjoy it, then you'll find the time. People that don't find the time, they're either selfish, or if you message someone and they don't respond to you, they either don't want to respond to you or they're just selfish. I mean, I don't find it hard to find the time for things that I love. I really don't. Well, how would you? Do you know what I mean? Like that, it's a simple, easy answer for me. Obviously, not everyone's the same in terms of you have to know how to manage your time too. You can't spend. Well, you can. Again, you can't spend hours and hours wasting time, but you can if you make up for it later on. You need to just enjoy. You know what I mean? Everyone's different. There's no easy way to answer any question. There's so many different variables that go into answering a certain question. But you need to be, time articulate, and you just need to care about whatever it is you're doing.
So I love how passionate you are with everything, especially your ability to balance everything, because I had a hard time finding the balance with that. But what do you, Lewis Morgan, want to be like remembered for? What is like your legacy that you want to leave? And I know, again, you're only like 29, so you have a long time to leave that.
29, right? Well, I like to create things that hopefully stand the test of time. So obviously, Gymshark, hopefully that company's going to stand the test of time. I want to, with Able Group, I want that to help other people create companies that again gonna be here longer than we live, hopefully. And I just want to. When it's hard to leave a legacy. Most people when they die, like that's the end. You've forgotten about really fast. Unfortunately, that's the sad truth. So while I'm here, I want to try and give back to maybe people and things. Like I love dogs, for example. I do a lot of charity stuff with dogs. I always build. There's a Blue Cross next to me, and I build things for dogs because unfortunately, humans are really selfish. And dogs, for example, I love it. They're not in a position to help themselves because we've changed their environment. So I do as much as I can to help animals wherever possible. So I just try and live good by my morals. I'll let no one ever change my morals for nothing, for no amount of money. Nothing will ever change my morals. And as long as I come to the end of my life and I'm happy and I've done wrong by no one, I haven't made money out of someone by snapping their hand off or backstabbing them, then I'm going to be really happy.
Yeah, I can tell you love dogs, or at least one, because you have a dog painting in the back or a picture in the back.
Yeah, so that's my Chow Chow. He's called Simba, and
nice.
Yeah, so he's like 7 now, and I've got a German Shepherd as well. See,
nice.
For me, I would have 25 dogs if I could. I'd cover my whole house because dogs are they're so loving. They don't care about your problems. They don't care they just love you for you. Do you know what I mean? Don't care how much money you've got. You could be sat in the street, but your dogs love you for you. And that's something that that's love, right? That you just can't get from many people. You just can't. You can't buy it. You can't find it often. But nearly every single dog that you will get in your life will love you that way.
Yeah, part of the reason why I went into the veterinary field as opposed to humans at first, because I love them so much. They just love you. They don't ask for anything in return, just pets and some food every now and then.
Yeah.
So part of my, and I'd love to see that, because you're already there, what you're doing, is to be able to build sanctuaries in the US that are close to shelters that say like, hey, we're running out of room, and they're still kill shelters. So if I build sanctuaries close to them and close to kill shelters, then when they say, oh, hey, we don't have room, we're gonna kill them, then I'll just take them. Do they have kill shelters in the UK, or have they outlawed that yet?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure. I would say no.
Yeah.
But, behind the scenes, possibly.
Okay. So there's one organization called Best Friends Animal Society, where I donate a lot, and they have a big sanctuary in like Utah. But their goal, like their mission, is to make every shelter a no-kill shelter like this decade. And I will help with that, as I need OMI to moon first, but as soon as it does, that's most of what the money will be spent on. It's gonna be that land in Indonesia and Madagascar for endangered animals. So I'm very glad to see that we have a lot of the same goals.
Well, maybe in the Veve verse, we can meet myself and you. We can set up a like a dog shelter where people come and they have to donate some of their OMI instead of just, they can burn some OMI there that we can get back then, and we can start doing things with dogs on the actual real world, something along those. See, I like to try and do as much as I can myself where possible, because I know charities, most of them great, but a lot of them behind the scenes, they're funneling money out left, right, silly, and most of the money that's getting given to them doesn't ever go anywhere, which is a very sad thought, but it's true. So as much as I can, which is why with all the stuff I do, I try and physically go there and I'll say, like, I'll pay for this to be built, and do you know what I mean? So I know where the money's going.
Yeah. I think Novartis is a good website, or they kind of rate all the charities out there and be like, well, this one only like 10% of your donation, but this one like 90% goes. So that was the other thing of trying to navigate how which ones are going to be the best to do that. But I think between us, we can have a really good start. We could have something good.
No, I like that. I like. Do you know what I like as well? Like, look at you. You sat in your wherever it is, house, bedroom, living room. I don't know, because you got a fridge in the back, so I don't know where you sat. Kitchen, something. You just sat there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've clearly got you're clearly a very educated person. You've got a lot of money behind you, but you're still you. Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing's changed you, which is what I like. I hate people that get changed by money. I hate, like, why should you get money and automatically become you think you're such a massive new person? You change your whole life. It's weird.
Yeah, I've always told people, well, there definitely is. I don't know if there was for you, but there is a learning curve to having money, which I never had before. And when I had that high risk lending job, and suddenly I started making a decent amount of money, and then when I went from having never any money in my bank account to having a lot of money, I did see my tastes grow a little differently. Like, I would just I used to drink like whatever, like bottom shelf alcohol, and I was like, oh, hey, can I get a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue? I have a bottle of Tesla Tequila over there. So the tastes do change a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, I am very content and happy with just a protein shake, like a bag of chips, and just playing Pokemon. Like, if I were to have like a heaven, I don't know if you ever watched Supernatural, where they show like your heaven, it would just be like a tall glass of like vodka or whiskey and just a really good book or a good video game that would be it. Like, I'm very lucky. I also think that happens to do with luck, like, just be very simple. I think some people that are born with a lot of money, they might have a little more bougie taste, or they just kind of feel bad for that. But how did you handle that? How did you go? You probably went from maybe a little bit of money to, like 9 figures. Did your taste change at all? How did you keep yourself from not changing?
So for me, I mean, because we built from the ground up, when you own a business, you have to look after every single penny. You become really frugal. Like, what am I spending this month? Do you know what I mean? And that really, I was never taught that, but I've always been good with money saving. I used to work 2 jobs, pot washing at Burton's Clothing, like this little men's shop, and I used to always save money. Why? I don't know why. I never really felt like I needed to waste money. I always wanted money for either a rainy day or something. I'm not sure. So, but when you're building a business, you have to be really frugal. Like, every single thing that you spend money on needs an answer. Like, why are we spending money on it? Is there a reason? If I drop a pound on the floor today, I'm going to pick it up. Like, I don't waste nothing, because I'm in a really fortunate position to, 1, to even be born, 2, I've made a company out of nothing. Do you know what I mean? So I've got nothing to be sad about. I'm happy about everything. And, I know you mentioned food and stuff, but at the end of the day, in regards to food, so you probably should be spending more money on food because you've made money, and better quality food will hopefully make you live longer, right? Which, you know, you can then share, you know, do more charity things. You know, you actually extend your chance of being here for longer. Do you know what I mean? So things like food, spend as much money as you want. Do you know what I mean? You're never going to spend all your money. You're going to end up, you know, passing away with a lot of your wealth, just like I am. That's just what happens. You don't want to spend it all. I'm never going to spend all my money. I'm never even going to try and spend all my money because I don't really care. I just love trying to make more money from money, and I love the process. That's all. That's what I make. I make money for no reason at this moment in time. I don't spend it on anything. So, you know, that's what I mean. I just want to make money for charities and stuff. But I actually don't make money for myself. There's no point. I don't spend any money. Like, as a percentage of my wealth spent versus what I earn, I don't spend it. It's less than 0.0001%. I don't spend nothing. You know what I mean? I never have, and I never will.
No, I think part of the reason and this might be the you know, psychedelics talking over the years, but I think that there's a pretty good chance that we are a simulation. Like we are computer code, and there's so many math, like that's code, like that's the language, like that's where there's reasons for things happening with black holes and gravitational fields. There's equations, and I think that if this is a game, then I was put on this earth, on this one rock. I know that, you know, Earth doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but if Earth was one part of this game, and maybe this is egotistical, but is to really help and change the world, how we see animal conservation and how we see. There's a lot of like this BS hate that like rich people get. So like, oh, that means you don't care about poor, you're holding all your wealth. I really want to change that notion. I really want to go and say like, oh, hey, no, rich people do a lot of charity. They do a lot of this. And I actually, part of the reason why I don't really go all out with health right now is because maybe instead of dying at 75, maybe I'll die at like 70. You know, I understand that. But most of what, you know, people make is in their like 30s and 40s. You know, that's where the prime, you know, income level is for the most part. And I want to be able to make sure that I maximize that amount. But I do also want to die with, I want to give away minimum 90% of my net worth whenever which I do think will be somewhere around your level towards the end of the decade. Hopefully I get that 9-figure mark. But you said, you know, you still live relatively frugal life. What are you going to do when suddenly you're a billionaire with that? Is it just going to be like, hey, pass off to kids? Are you going to set up trusts for, you know, what charities you go into then?
So I've already set up trusts. Yeah, I've already set up wills. I've already set up trusts. It just depends at the moment. I mean, I'm having a little one in January, but I mean, it all depends how they grow up. Like, I'm going to try and, my daughter, for example, and, you know, any more kids that I have, I'm going to try as hard as I can to bring them up, you know, the way I was brought up and appreciate everything. But if for any reason that they don't grow up like that, then they're not getting a penny. Yeah. They're not going to get a penny anyway unless they work. Like, there's no way I'm going to give my kids. They're going to get a great life, but they need to work for what they have. They're not just going to get given things. I mean, if they turn out to be incredible, you know, human beings, which I hope that for how they are, then I'll give them everything, and I'll leave them to take out my wishes. You know, continue giving it to XYZ people. Continue to build businesses that will change people's lives. Build businesses that will, you know, we can employ thousands and thousands of people, and we can, you know, we can change their lives. Absolutely, that's what I'll do. But if my kids grow up and they're not the way that I want them to be, God forbid, they're not going to get a penny. They're not.
I definitely respect that. I know that the easiest way to ruin a kid or ruin a person is give them everything they want and spoil them, and this way they feel bad for those kids. But I really like the approach that, you know, they're going to have to work for it, and I hope that. I mean, you don't want to make your kids suffer, but I don't know. I think at some point it's probably good, like to have your kids not suffer, but to really go without, like have them go a few days maybe without heat in the, you know, in the winter, or a few days without air conditioning in the summer. Like, I don't have an air conditioning here, and that sucked this summer. That was, but I'm also a little crazy. I think that part of the reason why I am as frugal as I am is because people that adopted me had an overspending problem when I was younger, and they were like always in debt. They never had money. I was like, this is not going to be me. Is that kind of something similar happened with you, or you just were born like that?
No, it's just me. Like, I've got 3 sisters, and 2 of them are similar like me. One of them is completely the opposite end of the spectrum. Never got any money, spends her money on shit all the time. There's no telling her, like, I don't even know if she was born from the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's complete opposite end of the spectrum to me. I can't talk sense into her, that she just won't listen. She just thinks she knows better. Everything's too hard. I'm like, you don't know the meaning of hard. Like, you go live in somewhere like Ethiopia and for a week, and you come back and you tell me your life's hard, because it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, people need more perspective in life. It pisses me off. Like, you can't moan. Most people don't even have clean water, and you're sat here moaning because you haven't got £10. It destroys me. It winds me up, honestly. These are the conversations that I have with her. But some people will just never get it, and some people you just need to leave to just live their life. And it's a sad thing. You can't help everyone. So to me, no. I mean, the people I was around, spending habits again weren't really taught to me. They don't teach it in school. They don't teach simple life skills in school, which is a shame, and they should. I mean, that's one thing that I'm going to teach my kids straight away. They're going to get extra maths classes. I'm talking just simple maths, like how to add, subtract, divide. Plan your actual life. They're going to be. I'm going to invest, straight away into their ISAs, and I'm going to do things like that. And again, just teach them anything that I wasn't really taught, which is a lot, because you don't. I mean. People leave it all down to the schools, but how can you leave it down to the schools? The schools have got 1 teacher to 30 kids. I mean, do you know what I mean? If you really care about your kids, like, you teach them the things that you wish you would have learned about.
Yeah, I think that but especially in the States, like it used to be where up until maybe like the 90s, the mom would stay home. The dad would go to work, mom would stay home, and then that. Somewhere along the line, again, I think in the 90s that changed, where, okay, both parents are working, so now it's very hard to spend more time with the kids teaching them things. And I feel like that was kind of, passing the buck, and like, well, they're going to school, and that's probably fine. And I agree. If I could redo it, I would drop out. I would emancipate myself at 16. I would drop out of school, get my GED, and just start working, because like all that time, again, I have a big problem with leaving money on the table. All the time when I'm in school, like learning things that like I'll never use, I could have been working. I could have been making a lot of money.
I mean, people are just kind of shoehorned into careers at this moment in time. But at the end of the day, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. Academic intelligence, academic results do not define your life. They don't. I didn't get anything good at school. I was a class clown, and I mean, do you know what I mean? I didn't care. And then I had a wake-up call, like, I'm a loser. Like, why am I trying to impress people that aren't really going to care about me in the future? Do you know what I mean? So, but if you get bad grades, it is what it is. Like, you can create your own wealth online now, as seen by, from flipping on, little NFTs. That's a great thing about Veve. Like, you can come onto Veve right now, and you can, I know we can't cash out at this moment in time per se, but you will be able to.
Yeah.
And you can get one of these drops, and you can almost make money right now from very little. You can put in $6.99, and if you get a secret rare, if you get very lucky, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, I had this one, or it was at DesignerCon. This guy, Mr. Pags, guy from Jersey. He's Henry Paglio. He's the other low mint.
He's the comic guy, right? He's the comic collector, is he?
Yeah, he buys a lot of low mint stuff. And this kid from New York that was like 19, 20 years old, whatever, got lucky, got a really low mint Walt, the partner statue, and paid him like 20 grand for it. And, so again, the kid spent $333, and he spent, gave him, USDT, whatever it was, for that. So like I said, and that's more than most people make in the world. That's more than most people make in a year, if you expand it to the world. what you were saying before, yeah, go to Ethiopia and come back and complain about your life. I think
people need perspective.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's. I was really glad that I joined the military. Is getting to go to some other different places, like Kuwait, and just saying that, like, okay, well, these guys, it's essentially slave labor a lot over there.
Yeah.
They go over there, which I guess they take people from India and they say, okay, we'll give you a job where they make I guess a really small amount of money, but more so than India. And they're working like 14, 16-hour days, and they're like sleeping on like cot. Like, I mean, we slept on cots too, but that was like their life, and we did that for like 7 months. So you would have been good in the military. You'd have been good there.
It's a scary place. That's what I mean. Like, you've got people defending you just so you can live a free life, and you're sat there moaning. Come on. I mean, come on, it's crazy. It's crazy. And all we've got to think about is when's the next drop on Veve.
Yeah.
Like, perspective. Just always think about that whenever you're having a bad day. Like, there's always someone worse all the time.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree. So do you go for every drop also?
I do go for every drop. I'm not very good at them. I don't know why. I press it perfectly on time. I've only ever got two drops. I've got everything else I just don't seem to get. Everything's pending, not pending. Sorry, when you press it and then it comes up, then you get a red box. It happens to me all the time. Whereas I've got a friend, Danny, and he's always getting the drops. And I'm like, no way. But the other day, I actually got like a 10-minute rebound.
Oh, you got a
10-minute rebound.
There's somebody that I had subscriber the other day that got it like 16-minute rebound, and I think on one of them, I think it was during Disney Week, they got somebody got like a 24-minute rebound or something. I was like, what? It was nuts. It was ridiculous.
Like Claire said, yeah, I know. See what Claire's saying right now. That's the only thing. Like, it's now worth a minimum of $6,000, and he's trying to teach him working hard pays. It does. You can be smart, as I say. You got. There's certain things you can do in life, and this is one of those things that doesn't come across or doesn't come up very often, where you can make life-changing money like pretty easy, like with no, you're not putting any actual hours really into it per se from a labor point of view. You're kind of sat there behind your screen clicking, and people can make a lot of money, which is crazy. But that's the only thing as well, Claire. You just need to make sure that he stays grounded. He's made $6,000. He might be going to school and saying to everyone, "I've made $6,000." Like, look at this. You know what I mean? Like, and absolutely going ham on everyone, and people just looking up.
So I think also that we have this really interesting perspective that are a lot different than our parents, where things were the same for their whole lives. But now you have people. I remember even when I was younger, people that were playing professional video games, professionally, and they were making, like Halo or whatever, and they're making, 6 figures. I think that now, if you're a kid, you can just go on and review like, or play Roblox or whatever and stream, and just some people just do that. If you had, let's say one of your kids, they're really good at, like a certain video game, or they're good at, let's say they open toys for a living. Like this one kid is on YouTube. He opens toys, like, oh, this is really fun. Got millions of views. Would you let them at that point, if they're like, like 10 or 12, be like, would you allow them to be homeschooled so that they wouldn't have to work, or they wouldn't have to go to school? They could.
Well, why? I don't really see there would be any point in that, because if you make YouTube videos, for example, you can go to school and still make YouTube videos. So I would never want to get rid of their schooling, because schooling is it's a learning curve that everyone really needs to go through, just because of the socializing aspect. You learn how to speak to people, you learn how to, everything to do with communication. You can't learn that from home. You need to be in environments with a lot of people, really. So if they wanted to go on YouTube, absolutely. I mean, that's the way the world's going. So if they wanted to do it, I'd let them. I wouldn't keep them at home and homeschool them. I'll do extra curriculum though. As I mentioned, I would give them extra lessons on things that they really would need, extra maths, so they would excel in maths, so they can plan things. Because everything comes down to simple things to do with math, as you mentioned earlier. Everything's run by numbers. Everything that you do is number based, some way or another.
Do you think the rise of like private schools, and not like the like the stuffy ones, but like the ones that are rising, saying, oh, hey, this school is geared towards engineering, or this school is geared towards tech, would you consider putting your kids in some of those if that was their interest?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if that's their interest, for sure, I would definitely do that. I mean, I've never been to one of those schools myself, so I don't know what they entail. I would honestly find out before I did that. Of course, I'd do my research as of anything. I don't go into anything blind. So, but if that's something they wanted to do, then yeah, of course I would. Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be interesting. So I don't know how long you have to go here. I don't want to take up too much of your day. Can you go for a little longer, or is it like, hey,
we'll hit the 2 hour mark. Why not? It's like 11 minutes or 10 minutes. So any questions you got? Yeah, for them.
All right, cool beans. Do you have epic cheat days like The Rock? Like, do you go on and just like pancakes with chocolate chips and syrup and donuts, or do you not do that to yourself?
No. So now, to be fair, I am a binger. I'm the same as you, right? I get addicted. So I can't just do something in little amounts. Same thing go back to Veve though, quickly. Same thing with Veve. I had to stick to something like low mints because otherwise I get too addicted to it and I'd end up being flipping all the time. I could get really addicted. So I made sure that I kept myself away from that. Regards to food, I either eat nothing or I eat loads. There's no in between. It's nothing or loads. So I can go all day eat nothing, but when I eat, it's like 2 meals job. I'm going to Nando's and I'm ordering 2 meals. I'm going crazy. But back in the day when I actually used to like count macros and really watch my fitness, and I was counting every single gram of food that went into my body, every single calorie in and out, I was tracking because I was kind of getting really in shape for potential bodybuilding shows and stuff. This is when I was like 17. I was really, really lean. And yeah, I used to do that, but that kind of messed with my mental health a little bit because all I was thinking about was food. Yeah. Should I eat this? Should I not eat that? And it was really hard to forget about food. I couldn't even be in a conversation with someone without thinking, what's my next meal? Do you know what I mean? Like it was getting a bit crazy. So I had to kind of stop and get away from that a little bit. So now, yeah, I just as I said, I stay in shape by fasting. That's what keeps me in shape. So I don't know about you. How about you?
Oh, my diet's pretty terrible right now. Like I'm going to my friend Ty's in a bit. We do the Voltron podcast. We're gonna get pizza. Now I am going to go to the gym later, so I will work it off. But you talk about Veve. What's your favorite collectible so far? And do you have more than one of certain things?
Yeah. So straight away, as soon as I came onto the app and I was speaking to people and I saw that the only reason I came onto the app is because of Disney. Disney did the collect. So straight away I went in. I bought 53 of Mickey and Walt. I bought like 70. So I've got a few sub 100 Mickey and Walt's. I've got two Givenchy Prides sub 100s. I've got Spider-Man Secret Rare. I've got maybe like five or six Mickey hats sub 100. I've got the Marvel 1 Secret comic. I've got like number 30 of that one, I think it is, and I've got the other one. I'm not sure what it was. But what's my favorite? Good question. Oh yeah, I've got a Todd as well. I've got some sub 100 ones. But oh yeah, I've got 5 Rizzos. I'm absolutely collecting these sub 100 Rizzos. I'm looking to take over on. But again, my favorite, I don't know. It's a toss up between I like Givenchy Pride. I like Todd, I like Rizzo. I like them all. I haven't really got a favorite, if I'm honest. I mean, I like them all.
Okay, so that's a lot.
I'm being greedy.
That's great. That's great for the community to have someone like you in here. Just that one that's just really passionate about it, that's also well known and has the capital to be like, hey, I have this capital and this is what I'm spending it on. So I thought that was really cool. The OMI bag. Can we get a ballpark figure on how much OMI you have and if you plan to buy more and sell points?
So I think I've got like 107 million, something like that. But I'm gonna continue to add just because, if I believe in the Veve, if I believe in where Veve is going to go, then I kind of have to own the underlying asset. Otherwise, it would be, I care more about the collectibles than the underlying asset. It's just that I don't want to miss out on an opportunity potentially if we go where it thinks it's going to go. And I knew that I could have invested there. Like if I can see an opportunity and I have to put some money into it. So will I continue to add? Probably, yeah. So, but let's see. I mean, there is going to be a major crypto pullback at some point. And I think that's when the next big buying opportunity is, which is when, I'm probably only maybe 15-20% crypto, but that's when I'll probably put more of my portfolio into crypto, but it's going to be only on that next big pullback, really.
So would you plan to liquidate a little bit, let's say in like, April of next year, let's say when OMI's at let's say 20 cents, and then in like Q4 of next year, when it pulls back, you would get back in, or are you just going to hold through everything and then add more?
No, I'm not going to trade around crypto. No way. The market's too volatile. You can't, if you can trade it. Obviously, people can use, technical analysis and make little bits of money here and there, but you can't do that with a massive portfolio. It's not possible. And again, it's not my forte. I'm not a trader. I buy and hold in things that I believe. And as I said, my time is best spent on myself within my businesses. I don't really have time to watch the charts when it hits below, Bitcoin hits 47 and pings off the technical analysis line, you're buying, you make $2,000. I'm not interested in that. Like, I don't. I'm in a place where I don't really need to do that, so I'm not going to do that.
So what do you do when, let's say, you have like 125 million OMI and like 2025 we're at $1, or 2030 we're at like $5, suddenly you have $500 million in OMI. What do you do at that point?
Don't know. I mean, 2025. Then we just see what's happening. I mean, I'll obviously keep looking and evaluating any investment that I'm in, and if for any reason I look at the investment and I don't see Veve continuing where I think it's going to continue, or OMI's not where it's going to continue, then I'll just pull more money. So it all depends on the company or the asset at the time. I can't predict now what I'm going to do in 2025. If Veve's booming, for example, and then we think it's going to go up, then I'll just hold it the same reason and same as what you'd probably say. I'd have to look at the investment at that point in time.
Yeah, so I told people that if there was something that I thought was better, that I would go in. I'd be in that. And I people send me stuff all the time, and I like other projects. I like Solana, I like Matic, I like Binance Coin and Cardano, but I just think this is, in my opinion, is the best right now. But again, that could change at some point when we're at $1, and okay, maybe we like 3 or 5x in like 5 or 6 years. There's going to be something else that I think could 10x in like 2 years. So, but I will, we'll keep in touch with that. We'll go and say, hey, what's the move?
You have to keep looking. I mean, you know a lot more about OMI than I definitely do, for sure, because you're all in on it. I'm not all in on it, so I definitely don't know as much as you. So it'd be an unbelievable privilege for me to speak to you about it, and you keep me updated. Do you know what I mean? That would be brilliant. So I mean, you have to keep re-looking at investments. You can't buy and hold anything if you don't believe in it anymore. And every single quarter, if anyone here follows the markets, like if you're invested in a company, let's say for example Apple, you need to continue to look at their quarter results to see if anything's changed within the business, because a stock could be on the up, and then for the next 5 years it might not do anything for 5 years, and you haven't lost money, but you've lost money because you could have put your money out in other places and made money. Do you know what I mean? So you need to always look at quarter results if you're being invested into the market. If you're not, then just invest in the S&P 500. Forget about it.
Yeah, that's why I never went, and I never really diversified into that many companies. I outside of Tesla, I did have Illumina and Square and Fastly, but these people that are putting in like 20 or 30 different companies, like I don't know how they keep track of all that. Like either that's all they do all day is just read all the P&Ls and listen to the quarterly reports, or they just don't do the research and they just know enough about it, and I couldn't do that. So that's true. It's true. Yeah, that's why I really only go in on companies that I'm pretty intimate with, that I know pretty well.
Yeah, which is also which is good. I mean, diversification is absolutely great, and if you truly believe in a company like you're saying with Tesla and OMI and whatever, and you know the company inside out, then the only other variable is you don't own the company, you don't control the company. That's the only other variable. But if you can make informed decisions and you go all in on stocks and you're really good at that, which obviously clearly you are, then you can make a lot of money for sure. Obviously, the risk is higher from an outsider's point of view, but to you it's not risky because it's your life. Like you live and breathe that company. It's almost your company at that point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
and one of the things that I was so impressed with a lot of these guys that I met at DesignerCon, like Trevor, Noah, Reese, and Alex, is that they don't seem stressed at all. Like they seem like they're handling all of this very, very well. And with my two companies that I had, I was stressed all the time. I was like, I was just a different person. So that really impressed me that they're able to handle all this and just be okay. It's almost like it's just a job. It's like, wow, these guys are great.
Yeah.
So, until the thesis changes, I'll stick with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Any final thoughts you want to leave to people? Any people that are watching in the future?
No, I mean, I can't see the chat because I mean, probably should have loaded it up on YouTube, but I haven't seen the chat the whole time, so I haven't been able to see anything. So I don't know how many.
My bad.
No, I should have loaded the chat. I mean, I used to use StreamYard, to be fair, but I forgot about it. So, but no, I appreciate everyone that's listened to me and Randy ramble on for the last 2 hours. Right? I mean, it's gone quick. 2 hours. I've been sat here for 2 hours.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
So I don't know how many people are in here, but I really appreciate everyone listening and big up the Veve community because, I mean, as I said, everyone that I've spoke to has been unbelievable. The amount of help that I've been offered and people have just tried to give me for no apparent reason with nothing in return has been unbelievable. So, I mean, everyone stay safe. As I said, don't overpay for collectibles that have no IP behind them. There's going to be, loads of 10150s in the future. So always remember that 10 years down the line, and don't get lured into some of these prices that people are listing things for, because at the end of the day, we want everyone to be around for a long time. If you lose loads of money in Veve, then you're not going to be within Veve for very long. So, we all want you to be as safe as possible on the long term. So. Yeah,
agreed. There's 133 in here now. There was 150 before. So we had a decent amount of people coming and listening. A bunch of people coming in with the whole fam. They love you. These guys are a lot of them I'm a big fan as well. So this meant a lot. I don't know if you'd come to Level Up Expo. That's in February. That's in Vegas. I know you did say you want to come to one at some point. Would you go to that one, or would you wait for something a little bit bigger, like a San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah, probably wait for the bigger one, because in February with this new company we're doing some quite big events in January, February, and things like that. So I'd probably have to be here for them, but I'd come for the big one for sure. And I saw someone said that there was one in April in the UK as well, so we could potentially go there as well. Was it in April? I think it was Decon, was it? Someone said, so I think you put it on screen.
In London, yeah.
In London, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great to go there. I haven't been to Europe in a while. But yeah, last time was 2019 because then the pandemic and all that. So, but I love it. It's fun. What city are you in?
So I'm in Birmingham, which is maybe 2 hours from London.
Okay,
I'm right in the center.
Okay, cool. I stayed in a place called Kent. It was like a few minutes above London, a bit north of there. My friend Jadine's there. She took me. I was pretty drunk for most of the Euro trip, but she said, like, hey, do you want to go to a club like GAY? I was like, and I'm drunk and I'm trying to get with her. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I didn't realize that spelt gay. And then I get there, I was like, there's a lot of dudes here. and then it's like, oh, okay, this is so that was my fun London story. But
no,
yeah,
cool.
I'll totally go. Go there. Would be great to meet.
Yeah, well, next time you do come, let me know, and obviously at Decon or whatever, then I'm sure we'll meet, because we'll be there and all the fam will be there. So everyone's, as I said, if you ever see me anywhere, always approach me. Do you know what I mean? So it's cool to meet people, speak to people always. So
yeah, I love meeting people, hanging out with them. I was like, oh, we're doing shots. Okay, let's do this. Big party here. So I really like that. But thank you so much. Thank you for coming along. I know you're pretty busy, and everyone, the chat, say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. See you all later. And